10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes for this special show that we do once a month, the Premier League review. And boy, do we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's get that virtual background back on. I don't know what's happened there, but there we go. Alan from the other 14 sends his love. He couldn't make it tonight. He's under the weather. He's probably got what's been going around. So we wish him all the best. So we've got still a star-studded lineup with Sizzle Steve and Mike, who we love. So I'm really looking forward to this chat because we've got a lot to go through. We really have. There's so much to discuss in the Premier League at the moment. It's crazy. Ches says, please remember to keep comments respectful, no all caps, duplicates and all that sort of stuff. Super chat in the bottom right-hand corner if you want to donate. I know the England game's on. I am keeping an eye on it, but I'm not really that bothered about it. Gordon has started well. Watkins has obviously scored. And Tino and Hall are on the bench. So there's not too much to really shout about with that. Right, let's bring our lineup in. Hello, Mike.
Oh, mate.
Oh, I can't hear you, mate.
Oh, no. How are you doing? Hold on, mate.
You're a bit... Yeah, you're very robotic. You might need to go out and come back in, mate.
All right, mate. Okay.
Oh, that's better. Oh, he's gone anyway. Let's bring Steve in. Steve's in the dark.
I had the light on and then I was too bright and then I turned it off and now I don't know if it's too dark, but I think it's kind of mysterious looking. So we might run with it for a while and see.
I think we will. We'll see how it goes. It might just
I don't want to scare the
and
kids,
darker.
Just stay away. That's the
That's probably why
story.
you should stay in the dark then.
Yeah, better off. More mysterious. Mike is back.
Let's see if he's improved.
Is that better?
That's much better.
Okay, cool.
Thank God for that. You were like a Dalek.
It's not the first time it's been said.
So we've got lots to talk about, gentlemen. Obviously, there's been a few fiery days in the England camp. I call it fiery because it's a club v country role. So Harry Kane is come out and said England before club. Is he right, or should it be club first, country second? Personally, I mean, Anthony Gordon answered it very well. What's right ahead of me is what's important. So that's obviously his club's more important. I always think because a player gets paid so much money every week from the club, playing for your country it's brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but they give the money away. It's a charity when they play for England. So they don't really get a fee. So it's more of a reward for playing well for your club. So your club should always come first in my eyes. What's your stance on it, Steve?
Do you know what? It's the dilute aspect of international football. I think us as football fans are sick of it. And I think some of the players, you wouldn't be human if you didn't get sick of it. There's too many games as it is. Football isn't a TV show. It's a sport. It's a game. We are supporters. We support our teams. And I think some of the players are just kind of like, they're pulling out left, right and centre. And you can see why. Rodri literally only said it before he got injured. There was too many games. And how many of us last week said, oh my God, here we go again, another international break.
Another international break.
For what is internet, this stupid league thing, It's just a complete
just for England, just what you said there, 9 players withdrew.
Yeah.
9. That is mental. I've never seen that many withdraw from a squad before, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
well,
when that really only happens when there's a meaningless game, doesn't it? You know, if there's a proper qualifier, you know, if there's a bit of momentum behind it, or, you know, you need points to qualify, 9 times out of 10, everyone turns up unless, unless someone's injured quite badly. But now, even if you've got a knock, it's like, what's the point going away for a week and a half, 2 weeks, just training? The club staff don't want these players leaving, especially if you're going well, like some of the teams are. And I can see why I can see why the players are pulling out. I can see why the clubs want the players to pull out.
That's the bigger question, isn't it? All the clubs pulling their players out and saying, say you've got this, say you've got that, and concentrate on your club. Because obviously it's a big Christmas coming up period. You know, this is the worst time for an international break for me. I mean, as a Newcastle fan, it's definitely the worst time because we've just started hitting form. Yeah. And then you've got a 2-week break and you're like, we're just getting going. This is the 3rd international break since the start of the season.
Yeah, it's outrageous. And 2 games each time. You know, 2 games compiled within, a weekend, like a 7 or 8 or 9 day kind of period. And like, the 3 of us could have went to a game tonight, couldn't we? Maybe not England because I think they're away. Are they? They're playing in Greece.
Playing in Greece, yeah.
Yeah, I could have brought the kids to the Ireland game. Why would you bother? You know what I mean? Like, and to be fair, I used to go years ago, and then Platini decided to change. You know, when the games were going to be on, started moving stuff around, and it just made it even harder. Like I say, if any people out there, you know, and they're looking back at this tomorrow, and they actually went to these games, fair bloody play to you, because, you know, let's be honest, it's a complete meaningless waste of time and money, especially in this day and age when everything's so expensive. So fair play. But you know what? I can see some side of, you know, some fans that go, you know, if you do go to England away or whatever like that, you know, there might be lads from Rotherham, from Derby, you know, from Hull that don't see their
European football.
Exactly. They don't have the best players, with respect. They don't have the best players to look at every week. So, you know, you can see why they might, you know, get behind it, because, you know, they want to, you know, obviously they want to follow their country, but they want to see, you know, it's their chance to see their top players play, you know, when they're playing for England or any country. So you can see maybe why there's a kind of more of a hardcore, like it's like a club, isn't it? And countries, there's a hardcore element of the support there, and they'll go through thick and thin.
But fair shout. And again, the weather as well. It's a weekend away from the
weather. I don't want to mention the Christmas word. Oh, I just said it. But, you know, that's coming up too. You know, people have different priorities. We're all talking about, you know, we're all itching to talk about and look forward to what 2 games we all have for club side of things when we come back after the international break. And, you know, what are we going to do Saturday? You know, what 3 of us, what are we going to do at the weekend? I'm going to rake some leaves, maybe put up some Christmas decorations, might have a takeaway. You know, that's as good as it gets, you know. Like, we're struggling to be enthusiastic about international law. I'm not going to watch the games, you know, either or today or at the weekend, because it's just dead rubbers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm watching the England game now because it's on and we're winning 1-0, which is nice, but I haven't got excited about it. Mike, you're obviously got your eyes on the TV as well, so you're watching it. What's your thoughts on the country?
I mean, who cares about this game, really? To be honest, you know, the Nations League is it's another meaningless fixture. They're stuck in. The clubs don't want, players don't really want, and fans don't really want it either. So it's like, you know, it's when the World Cup qualifiers come around, that'd be a bit more interesting. But yeah, you know, like you, I got it because it's on. There's nothing else on, so it's pointless. And I'd rather be looking forward to Brighton fixture this weekend, you know, rather than this rubbish that's on at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we've got obviously West Ham coming up, so
I absolutely don't blame players for knocking this on the head. You know, it's like you know, it's a meaning in this fixture, and I know people will say like it should be an honour to play for your country and that, but I mean, your clubs pay your wages, and this sort of competition is just a joke, really. It's just pointless. we'll get promoted probably, and
Well, we might not.
well, we might, and then we will if it goes on. Like, you know, we've he'd bring Harry Kane on in the second half, and he'd get a hat trick or something, and that'd be it. But it's just pointless. And even if we go up, we'll probably come straight back down again. It's like, you know, it's.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, the only benefit of these nation leagues is that the friendlies are sort of, I suppose, a bit more competitive. If you're in the top league side of things, don't you get if you win it completely, do you get automatic qualification to the Euros or something like that?
I think you do. Yeah, I think. I'm pretty sure you do. The only thing I would say with this is it's different in this one because loads of players have pulled out. Possibly Carsley used it in the right way the last time by playing players who haven't played before, and it's a chance to look at those players. But as soon as you lose, our press start going mental and start like hammering the manager and the players instead of treating it like it is. You know, it's just I don't like it, as you can tell.
Yeah, I can tell. I haven't had a chance to ask you the question. What do you think of a German being in charge of the England team? I mean, I'm all for it. I don't know why there was a meltdown. I don't get it.
I totally haven't got a problem with it. You know, he's obviously the rumour is they wanted Pep and he's not ready to take it. But you know, he's a good manager, proven record. He's won stuff at every club he's been at. So why not? You know, who cares if he wins stuff with us? Then that's great. You know, and you know that's good. You know, it's someone with a bit more tactical nous than Southgate. So yeah, I think it's good.
I remember that. Yeah, that was brilliant. I don't know if you watched off Readers and Pep, but there was a scene when they were doing the recording of the actual TV program, and the Newcastle game was on the radio, and they obviously had to stop recording because Newcastle scored, and he went mental in the bed.
What a program that was!
It was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. Steve, obviously, I know you're not an England fan, but what do you make of a German being the national manager? I mean, you've obviously in an island, you've had loads of different types of managers, haven't you?
Yeah, well, to be fair, but I grew up supporting England. I grew up supporting both. But
did you?
In my teenage years, I supported England more so than Ireland, actually, when we moved back. And I did up till I was about 25. I was hardcore kind of England, and then it just kind of, I suppose the turning point for me was, looking at the likes of John Terry and all these guys and Frank Lampard who have, were at West Ham and that left. I said, I just couldn't support them, and that's the other side of things, and that's probably what been the Achilles heel to England over the years, and that's what frustrates a lot of people because you've got really great players and they just don't perform at the top level. But to answer your question, there's a different type of manager for international football. Some guys are just born for it, like Mick McCarthy, for example. Like he was brilliant when he was managing Ireland. Do you know what I mean? And he was a decent club manager too. But you see, the difference between them is a big difference between like 8 games a year or 6 games a year and 44 games a year. You need a certain type of manager that can get the best out of guys, that can articulate
short
properly.
Period of time, isn't it?
Short period of time, motivate. Get really proper punchy ideas across. They have lots of time to prepare, so there's no excuses there. So it's not like Wednesday, Saturday. All year, they know when they're international games, they know who they're going to play, so they can do their research. So I think someone like German coming in, I think if it happened 20 years ago, when I was playing, I'd be fuming. You know what I mean? But I think things have completely changed now. The landscape of football has completely changed, and I don't think people will actually care. And you know what? It's a blessing in disguise because England have had Sven. I nearly said we there, but you've had different managers, foreign managers like Capello that did things right and did things wrong. And I think what this manager is coming is if he doesn't, he won a favourites. He might because with the Chelsea connection or whatever. But that's what's happened. That's what's hindered England. We've seen it in the summer. Southgate having too many favourites, not dropping guys, not playing guys that were in form. Regardless of it, you have to pick the team that's on form and that's on fire. You're back. Two of you are in and out like a.
Signals disappear. I don't know what's going on tonight, but something doesn't want me to. I mean, I've got full signal bars as well. I don't know if it's maybe StreamYard having a bit of fun with me, but I'm back. I apologise. But like you mentioned, we have had different foreign managers before. You mentioned about having. Yeah, this was always the thing with England. We always had a certain section of players that were unbelievable, but then the rest of it was dross, wasn't it? We always used to have a great defence, but shocking up front. Yeah. Then we were brilliant up front, and then we're crap in defence. I think the golden era for me was well before, the Scholes, the Becks, the Lampards, the Gerrards. It was 1996 when we should have won the Euros.
Yeah.
When we had Shearer, Sheringham, McManaman, Paul Ince, all them lot. We had an unbelievable England team.
But England then had balance. Do you know what I mean? Players played in their proper positions. Your strikers played up front. Sheringham played in the hole. You weren't trying to place Scholes, Lampard, and Gerrard in the summer. You're not trying to put Foden in there with Cole Palmer and Bellingham, and that's what's been wrong. Like the best era, and I suppose the best, probably the best tournament. That was probably the best tournament from an England point of view, especially being in England
from school as well. To watch it and stuff like that.
Exactly, everyone was absolutely buzzing, and and the balance of the team was right. And whoever came off injured or whatever, there was a like for like replacement ready, and like that. Terry Venables was a manager for international. He knew how to motivate people. You could see the players would go through a brick wall for him. You know what I mean? And they probably still would. He just had that magic, and that's what you need for an international manager. Like Ireland at the moment now, they've got the guy from Iceland who did so well, and already you can see an improvement. You know what I mean? Already you can see that he's getting his message across, albeit with limited players. For different reasons, we won't go into that. England, Southgate robbing them all. But even Patrick Bamford, he had to give him a cap just so he couldn't play for Ireland. These things do my head in. But anyway, but you know what I mean. So it takes a certain manager. I think Tuchel might just have that magic because he's a likable character. He's articulate. I think the players will respect him because he's been there and done it. A lot of international managers get a chance and they haven't really done it. Do you know what I mean? Like Southgate, did he do it? What did he do? He didn't do it.
Not really.
So, he
had one good season in Hillsborough, didn't he? And that was about it. He got the job on the back of that, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the players will thrive on it, to be honest with you, because, you need to be able to motivate these millionaires now, like you said. And it's a completely different kettle of fish, especially, the teams at the top. Because, years ago, and I know Rabbit, the international teams were better. You know what I mean? Now, if you look at Italy with Del Piero and all these.
Italy were unbelievable. Spain were getting up there again. Germany were fantastic. France with Thierry Henry and all them lot.
Exactly. So, you're going to have to find something different. You're going to have to find a manager that can get the best out of a system and players. So, it's going to be very interesting. I think he's going to do well. I think he's not going to be afraid to make the hard decisions, which, Southgate was.
I think the only thing that might let them down is the defence. Like I said, I've done about the eras, having certain sections that were brilliant or attacking at the moment. The players we've got at our disposal are unbelievable. And then you look at our best centre-back is Harry Maguire. So you're like, oh, God.
Yeah, and everybody thought he should have went. And once the first game kicked off, everybody said, yeah, he actually should have went. Southgate should have brought him. So it's some players step up to it and they're leaders, and sometimes you need a leader.
Right, before we go on to the next topic, I've just got this to flash up very quickly. This is The Last Dance. It's on Saturday, so I found something to do, Steve. On Saturday I'm playing in a charity six-a-side football match. We're going to be streaming it live on our channel. Basically, it was for Dementia Matters, but he's hit his target for that, so he's now moving on and trying to raise money for the Newcastle Food Bank, which he always does. He's raised 20 grand as a 9-year-old with his dad. Is unbelievable. And this is the last time he's doing it. Obviously, he's only 9. He needs to go and live his life and enjoy himself a little bit more. So this is his last one, and I'm playing it on Saturday. We're streaming it on our channel. There'll be a live link to the food bank to donate. When we're playing, there's the likes of Adam P's playing, Josh, Charlie Talks Football, couple of them. Ian from the channel's playing as well. I'm playing, but I've got to go to work the next day, so I am not going to be in a good mood on Sunday morning when I wake up and I can't move. But please tune into that on Saturday. We'll have guest speakers during the game. I think Steve Rape's going to be on the mic for a little bit. We might have a professional commentator there who might jump on the mic and do a bit of commentating as well. And ITV cameras could be there as well, so it could be on the ITV news. So it's going to be very, very good. Finally got permission today. It took ages, so I'm finally allowed to talk about it. So tune into that. Next topic, we're all going to love this topic, aren't we? We really are. David Coote, or David Coote, as he's like to be called now. Right, there's a few pictures I'm going to put up first before we really start hammering into it. First of all, someone put on there saying, I hope he's all right, because the hammering he's getting, his mental health has probably taken a bit of a kicking. I agree with that, but he shouldn't have been so stupid to be on camera. And what makes it hilarious when I get to it is that all the referees have been caught being idiots as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting. So there's been some great pictures. Obviously, there he is snorting some, let's just say, some white powder. And then someone did this. I could not stop laughing at this. VAR lines. He's offside. He's offside.
I don't know, his finger. Yeah, his finger.
Yeah, he's definitely offside. And then there was that one. Oh man, honestly, absolutely brilliant pictures. And then finally, I put one out going, he's got his Christmas cards ready for all Liverpool fans. He's rolling them all out. But this is how stupid they are, right? All these referees are apparently married, got families, got kids, and all that sort of stuff. Yet they're out in Singapore with loads of prostitutes getting pictured with them.
Jeez. Allegedly, as they say.
Well,
it's cozy.
It looks very cozy, doesn't it? I mean, but how thick are you to be in that situation? You wouldn't be on that table with all those women, would you?
Yeah, they're not tour guys, are they?
Exactly. There's even other pictures that I've circling around, like taking like close one-on-one selfies and stuff like that. So it brings us to the conversation of what's going to happen with Tutti. Are all referees bent? And what the PGMLO going to do about it, and the Premier League? I mean, this has thrown their whole system, their whole company into chaos, hasn't it, Mike? And we've been on the end of some dodgy decisions, haven't we? And let's face it, you can go back and look at all of them now and go, was he high?
Yeah. I think like him being on drugs explains a lot, because he wasn't very good anyway. Like, I don't think, from what I've seen at the Amex. I mean, I think probably Gary O'Neill hit it on the head. I don't think there's a deliberate bias against anyone. I know what he said against Liverpool and what he said against Klopp. That comes after obviously a very heated exchange he had with him and Robertson. But I think there probably is an unconscious bias that when they go into games. I think if you play football yourself, you go and play, and there's certain teams you like playing against and certain players you like playing against, and some you don't. And I should think they're the same, and I'd like to think that there's no deliberate bias. But then you get someone like Mark Clattenburg who comes out and writes a book about it sort of 10 years after, saying that certain match he did a dodgy decision. So I don't know, but it's definitely they need to. He's gone. There's no way back from this. I know people are saying about his mental health and and the fact that maybe he's been hammered on social media, but there isn't any coming back from this, at all. And it is going to question, naturally, people are going to question other referees and decisions they make. And, were those decisions made because that referee had an agenda? Arsenal got it with certain referees. You got it with certain referees. We got it with certain referees. So you start thinking, is there an agenda? But I'd like to think there isn't. And it is like, if there is something there, it's an unconscious bias and not a deliberate thing. But he was stupid. You know, it's a stupid thing to do. He's obviously off his head when he did it. And if I was him, I'd be giving his mate a slap, because obviously he'd done that in privacy and said don't release it, and they've released it. So,
not much of a mate, is he?
Yeah, exactly that. So when you do something like that, it'll always come out. If it comes out like when you're refereeing, or if it comes out like afterwards, but it's going to come out in the end. Just a very, very stupid thing to do, and it's really the PGMOL have been going through so much scrutiny this season. It's probably worse than it's been in any other season, because of how they're trying to create a transparency, which you know, the live mic ups and all that, and then it happens, and it's just put it into another level. I mean, there's one match that he did referee, which was the handball, the penalty. Was it Arsenal?
The
Where
Man
it's
United game, wasn't it?
Man United, yeah, it was Man
West Ham.
United, and there was a handball. West Ham, and there's a handball, and you think how the hell are you not giving that as a penalty? You know, even he's on VAR, and he doesn't give it as a penalty, or send the referee over to the monitor at least. And I think all the other, you can say it's human error, or there's mitigating circumstances, or there's arguments whether it was or wasn't a right decision. But on that one, you look at it and you think, what the hell? You know, if that's my team, I'm going mental. You know, so I can understand. I think the other one you're on about, the Danny Ings one, I think that was a different situation altogether, because that's more of whether Danny Ings
had control of the ball.
Yeah, and had control of the ball. So that's more of a subjective kind of decision, whereas a handball, it was handball. It was like it stopped them scoring, and it was like a decision which you think you start questioning that, and was his motives then sort of against Jurgen Klopp, because this was fresh in his head? I don't know, but like I say, I'd hate to think that it is like that, and I think it probably is an unconscious bias, if there is any bias. You know, we expect them to be above that sort of thing, but they are human, you know, and human nature, you do things like that. You can't help it, and I'm sure they're no different to the rest of us. So
get paid a lot of money though, don't they? It's $100,000 a year to be a referee, I believe, which is quite a lot of money just to run down and blow a whistle.
Well, yeah, and the one thing that come out of it that I was gobsmacked was that they're not drug tested. That to me is like, what the hell, you know? It's like, and I think they will be from now on. I think that's definitely going to happen. So
yeah, I think they should. I thought referees were drug tested. To be
apparently
I didn't realise they weren't.
Yeah, apparently they're not. It came out in the papers that they're not drug tested. So that's horrific. I don't, you know, but there will be now, no doubt about that.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Steve, was he really wrong what he said? I mean, Jurgen Klopp is a bit of a cunt.
God forbid the man has a hobby. That's all I'm going to say. He's trying to.
This is the other thing, right? Everyone's
trying to go out there and enjoy himself, and everyone's having a go.
Be careful. I mean, taking drugs isn't a hobby, though, is it? It's kind of.
No, I'm joking.
It's silly, but you know what? I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, the thing is, right? When was this video taken? Because when you see the clips,
cocaine was during the Euros. It was during the
Look, that's terrible. You know what I mean? No one should be at that crack, and you know whatever. Like that's especially someone in his position.
Intended.
Anyone in that type of position should be at that crack. Oh yeah, I didn't take. Yeah, you know, we won't make excuses for that. But what I will say is, right. First of all, they've thankless task. But like if you're up and coming, like so a lot of the footage and the pictures of what we saw was Klopp having a go at him when he was sideline official, all right, the fourth official. And when he was doing that, it was some of the games were during COVID, and he was taking a lot of slack, and you can see from the images Klopp shouting and blah blah blah. If Coote is coming into the environment where he's fourth official and he's starting in his process of being a professional and working his way up, And then he starts, maybe Afco starts going out and people are recognizing him, and he's like, we would all be the same. We'd be all like, oh God, we're getting a bit of, we're getting people are noticing us. They're trying to talk to us. Suddenly I'm cool because let's call a spade a spade. None of these referees are ever going to be cool, or they probably never had been. And you're getting a bit of attention. And he's like, oh, people want to hang out with me. They want to buy me drinks. This is quite cool. And maybe if I'm just thinking off the top of my head, this might not be the fact. I might be completely wrong, but from what I see and what I'm thinking is this incident happened at kind of 4 or 5 years ago when he was starting off, and then you could maybe make an excuse why he was trying to kind of fit in and be cool and talk about this story and call Klopp what he did and blah blah blah. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, but I'm trying to make sense of it in my own head, or why or how would he be in this situation where are these people his friends, or are they just people he's just hanging out with? They've gone back to a party like we all have at some stage in our lives when we were younger and had a few drinks, and then you're sitting there going, oh God, what am I doing here? Because he does look out of it, to be fair. He does,
Well, if there was camera phones back when I was younger, we would all be screwed.
Game over. But
I don't mean taking drugs, but just in general.
No, we're not talking about the drug part. We're talking about him on the couch having that conversation. We know the drug part is wrong. He shouldn't be at that, right? No one should. But what I'm saying is, when he's on that couch and he's calling Klopp a CUNT, and then you look at the images, and it's kind of all right. Maybe Klopp has been fairly harsh on him, and he has been having a go at him a lot. And maybe he's just like, oh, I'm drunk. We all say things when we're drunk. The truth comes out sometimes, and I think maybe that's what happened in this situation. Because if it happened last week, it's a different story. There's no excusing it. But if it happened back then, like I said, then yes. Also, you have to think of it. Are they well paid? Okay, they're like you said, $100,000 a year. To be impartial and not care what anyone thinks, $100,000 a year isn't enough, in my opinion.
That's a valid point, to be fair, though, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. Because they could be open to easily being, manipulated into taking a brown envelope, couldn't they? Think, I'm going to offer you £2 million to throw this game, and the referee be thinking £2 million, Jesus Christ, that's 2.5 years' wages.
But everything. It's not even that. It's just like taking shit off these people again. I've got to go here. We all do it. Like we all have a situation where oh God, I can't believe I have to go there, even if it's work or something like that. So maybe that's like if I'm getting $250,000. You can call me anything. I will go around to Klopp's house after the game, and he can have a go at me for another hour and a half in the garden, say what he wants, and then I'll walk home. I won't even get a cab. I'll walk like 10 miles home for $250,000, But $100,000 a year after tax, you're getting that abuse. You're getting slated every week. You're in the spotlight all the time. You're having these people you're getting no thanks for it. It's like I said, it's a selfless task. It's a thankless task, should I say? And sometimes you're just gonna snap. We've all snapped. We've all shouted at the bin man, why didn't you get me? But we've all had that moment where and I think maybe that could have been his kind of snap moment, because let's look, he's not irate. He's out of it. He's drunk or whatever. But I'm just trying to think from the other side, from his point of view, how and why something like this might have happened, and think of it from the perspective of money. Yeah, like if you're a millionaire, no problem. If you're $250,000, but I don't $100,000. What are you getting after? What are you pulling after tax every month? I know they get expenses and hotels paid for, but you're on the road a lot, and it's not very glamorous. And like we all, a lot of these core, like they're not like the refs years ago where they demanded respect and they got, because they didn't have VAR to back them up all the time. Whereas these guys do, and they're fraudulent if you ask me. But there is a core of these guys that are from that kind of Lancashire, Manchester area. So there's always going to be some kind of crossover. He supports that, or his background is this, or he's from that area. He should be managing that team and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We could be doing business with someone that we don't like, but we do it anyway, but he's just told the wrong person. And whoever this fella is, that's ratting him out as a grass. And, there was no need for it. It's just someone doing that. It's bad form. He hasn't killed anyone. No one's been hurt. He's going to lose his job. He's spot on. He's spot on. Like, if Liverpool got rid of Klopp sooner, they might have won more. Look at Slot, how well he's doing. So there you go.
Do you think out of this, because although I said there's no way back for him, like if you think of players that have done it in the past, like Paul Merson, that sort of thing, they go about their mental health, go into rehab, and then they're kind of integrated back. Do you think that could happen, or do you think his way out is like over somewhere like Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you're probably looking at that, like, you know.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
And then I think he'd get paid more money anyway than he would have over here. So he might come out of this all right in the long run. Obviously, this is going to follow him around forever. They could use it to his advantage, like book deals and paper deals and all sorts of stuff like that in the long run. But yeah, I was just wondering how you view that if the PDMOL, just sort of playing devil's advocate, if they said like he was suffering with his mental health, he had a drug problem, he's going into a rehab to sort this out. I mean, will we welcome him back into the Premier League, or do you think that's a bridge that's burnt?
Yeah, I think he's done.
Tough one, isn't it? Yeah.
But here, anyway, you know, he's done in the Prem. Whatever about going foreign, you know, he might have a chance. Like UEFA are going to strike him off now, so he's done from that. So you know, he's going to have to be the Far East or the Middle East, and you know, or maybe could he go to the US and have a career being a referee potentially? Yeah, or a VAR official over there. You know, like we don't know how much stress that man's under. You know, or how he's handling, how he's, you know, what journey he's been on. Like if he's punched someone or hit someone, or, you know, been degraded to a woman or something like that, it's completely different. But you know, he's called Klopp a name. He probably deserves another. You know, he's been caught doing that, and you know, which is inexcusable. You know, you'd lose your job on that. You know, regardless, especially if you're, you know, a person that's known and in the limelight. So, and look, he's not the best referee in the world, anyways. He's hangers left, right, and centre. So we probably won't be sad to see the back of him. But there's people out there that have done a lot worse than him and pulled the mental health.
Well, I was just about to mention that.
Yeah,
you look at the Jamie Carragher situation, don't you?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's still got a job, and I agree with you, Mike. If he goes, I mean, I think they'll play that card. I think they'll play the mental health card, and I think they'll put him in rehab, get him back on the straight and narrow, and then maybe finding him a career outside of the Premier League. He might have to go down a few divisions and start again, potentially, maybe. But it just depends. I mean, we had I can't really talk about it, it was at work, but something similar sort of happened. So it's a tough one. Because, I mean, he's a crap referee, so in a way it's quite good.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to feel sorry for him as a person, because he said something which, personally, I mean, a lot of fans outside of Liverpool will be thinking, spot on, well done. Someone's finally said it. Do you know what I mean?
I think he could have rode that wave out. I think he could have just maybe been suspended for 6 months and come back, and he could have got on with it, just not doing Liverpool games. But the fact that the other picture came out, that's an nail in his coffin, unfortunately.
Well, such as pictures as videos of him doing it, isn't it? So that's the problem.
You've got to be an odd person to be a referee anyway. It's like, if any of you have refereed a game, it's like horrific. It's like,
I've
absolutely
never done it, thank God, and never will.
Yeah, I've done it. It's horrific. It's like, it is a nightmare. It's just, I've had to step in and referee like my boys' match when the referee hasn't done that, and they're like 17, 18-year-olds. It's just, it's one of the worst jobs in the world. You're right. The pressure that these guys are under, if you think that's from the players, managers, the spectators shouting at us night, you know, it's and there's no let up, is it? Because they're doing like games all the time. They're doing like, so you've got that all the time. So there is that. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right. He was dog shite, to be honest. So it's probably not a bad thing for us that he's gone, but horrible for him as a person, like you say.
Yeah, tough one. Before we go to the next topic, don't forget about Football Prizes, an amazing sponsor of this channel. They've got this ends tomorrow night, so get your tickets while you can. And Eddie Howe, Botman, Joe Linton, Gaza, signed shirt, all up for grabs. $3.95 a ticket, only 219 tickets. Link is in the description. And don't forget about Football Prizes as well. And Diet Crow, 20% off. Link is in the description. Amazing t-shirts and everything that they do. So that is mint. I would love that Eddie Howe signed shirt, but I haven't bought any tickets for this one. Right, next topic. What is going on at, obviously Steve's going to have a big say about this, at West Ham, Palace and City. We'll start with City because I know Steve's going to go on a bit of a rant. I know he's ready to blow some air. But City have lost 4 in a row, 2 in the Premier League. Pep's not done that since, I think it was 2012 when he was manager of Bayern. But Pep always has a blip season, even in every single team he's managed, at Barca, at Bayern, and now at City. And it's just perfect timing for Liverpool, which makes it even worse. That's the one thing I don't like about it. But is there any reason behind it, Mike? Can you say, obviously, other than Rodri being injured? I mean, surely one player can't just dictate a whole team.
I think he makes a massive difference to them. But I mean, to be fair, when they played us at the weekend, John Stones is out. Their whole, the middle of that team, the heart of that team, sort of midfield backwards, is injured at the moment.
Right.
But that said, I'm not got much sympathy because we spent 200 million. They had 200 million on the bench, So so it swings and roundabouts. But the thing with them at the moment is yes, they've gone on a 4-match unbeaten, but they're still not out of it. If they play Liverpool, if they beat Liverpool, it's back in it. Things start looking better. So I think that's the key when they play Liverpool. Then if Liverpool beat them, it kind of starts looking a bit bleaker. But I'd never write him out, but write him off. Sorry, but I think you're right. I think it was weird because we played Liverpool a couple of weeks ago, and in the first half we were amazing. Should have been 3-0 up, and Liverpool come and second half blitzed us and won the game. This was the opposite. The first half of the game on Saturday, Man City should have been 3-0 up. They didn't, and then Herzler tweaked our system around and brought on Belieber, and we started getting aggressive with them, and they didn't really have an answer for it. And that was odd. I've never seen a Man City team like that. It was like we were attacking spaces, and their midfield weren't tracking back. Their defence was being closed down. We were pulling Walker and the other guy, Rico Lewis, out of position, and it was weird. The second half, it's just an almost mirror of the Liverpool, but the opposite way around. But yeah, it was strange and odd, and I think there is a confidence thing there at the moment. Seems to be, but yeah, I wouldn't write him off yet though.
I'm definitely not writing them off. I just think this is his blip.
Yeah,
this is his season. He's having a blip. The summer didn't really go his way. They haven't. I mean, they did well to get Gundogan back, but he hasn't been the same. They kept a hold of Bernardo Silva, but again, something just doesn't seem to be right. And this happens, when he's been at a club for a while, he has a blip.
Probably more worrying for them is it was Bournemouth and us rather than it being someone like
big clubs,
like you or Arsenal, or it was Bournemouth and then Brighton, and that's kind of unheard of for them losing. All due respect to us and Bournemouth, I know we're doing well and they're doing well, but you'd expect Man City to be beating both teams. I wasn't expecting anything out of that game, to be honest, but it was coming on the back of the Bournemouth thing, and I think that's probably what's different this year. You wouldn't expect that to be happening.
No, you expected injured Fox to fight back, wouldn't you? When it comes to City, you normally don't see them lose 2 in a row. They normally turn up again. We
were expecting backlash on Saturday, and it just didn't happen. Yeah.
Great game, great result for you guys. What about Palace? Have you got any say on Palace? What's going on? Obviously, you'll be loving it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't deny it. Stan will be loving it as well. But I think with Palace, like I said, last season they played 6 games and they won the 6. But apart from the Liverpool game, all those teams were probably on the beach, and Liverpool should have beaten them about 5-1. Didn't. So it was a great run for them. but then they lost Elise, and when you started watching them, Elise was kind of like the cog that made that team tick. So he would lay balls into Eze. Eze would then feed it into Mateta, and that, Elise was kind of like that thing that held them together. As soon as he went, and you can see how he's doing for Bayern Munich now. That was a big loss for them, and then they start coming out with this stuff in the transfer window about we want pathways and all that, and kind of not replacing that talent, and they seem to be leaving clauses in these contracts that allow players to go for probably quite a bit under their value, because I expect him to go for a lot more than he did, and it's I must admit I'm not sad about it, but I could see it. I could see it happening. I don't think they'll go down. I know they're struggling. I think they've probably got a bit too much quality in that team. But I do think Elise was like he's a one piece of that jigsaw that they really didn't want to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on then, Steve. What's happening at West Ham? Is it now thinking Moyes leaving was a really bad idea?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, because I'm still haunted from parts
you
of
won a trophy.
I'm still haunted from parts of last season, because from January to the end of the season we won 3 league games.
Yeah, that's true. But was that not because he knew his fate and it just players might have stopped playing for him, maybe? Or?
By all accounts, he was offered a contract and he wasn't happy with it, so he stalled, and then things started to go a little bit bad. Like, there was a couple of games there, a few in a row, where we you're losing 6-0 to Arsenal, 3-0 to United, 5-1 to Palace, 5-0 to Chelsea. I'm sorry, and that's just all between January and the end of the season. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's easy to turn around and say, yeah, well, you're on the beach, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not acceptable. Like, you cannot win 3 games between January and the end of the season in the league. Now, we had obviously we were in Europe, whatever, and that went well, and we did ourselves proud. To be fair, Leverkusen beat us. We gave them a cracking game at home. Brilliant night. 1-1, they equalised at the last minute. But that's a game we talked about officials earlier on. Anyone looks back at the highlights of that game, we got absolutely done by the officials that night. But anyway, we played really, really well. But apart from that night, it was a pretty poor 6 months or whatever it was. It was Everton, Wolves, and Luton we beat. With respect to them, that was it. So and then obviously we had a big clear out in the summer. Let a lot of players go. Net spend of 100 million. So we bought in a lot of players, but it's not as bad. We didn't waste as much money as people might think. And I suppose looking to the start of this season, Lopetegui, how has he approached the Premier League again and football? And yes, we're no longer in a Moyes situation where we have 34% possession at home and we're defending for 85 minutes. To be fair to Moyes, at least we knew that's what was going to happen. Yeah. And you would make the same 2 substitutions on the 80th minute. We knew, you know what I mean? And there's a lot to be said for Norway. Do you know what I mean? Like, looking back now, it's like, maybe we should have appreciated that a little bit more, This manager, he's trying to find his best team. People don't know what they're doing. He's tried a couple of things, like Alvarez, covering in for the right back when he's bombing forward, and we've been caught, especially against Chelsea, and I think it was the second home game of the season. We got absolutely tore to pieces in the first 20 minutes. And he hasn't, I don't know what kind of stamp he's trying to play. Now, we are playing higher up the pitch. We are passing it more. Our possession stats are really, really, really good. But we're not creating. We're not getting enough crosses in. We've zero end product when it comes to set pieces, which we did last year. He let Ward-Prowse go, brought in Soler and Rodriguez. Ward-Prowse goals and assists coming out of his backside last season, even though he's not the fastest. But you know what you're getting with him. You have to build him in your team. If you have a Souček and Antonio in the box, you need Ward-Prowse putting it in because he knows where to put. So there's lots of things failing. We've won 3 games in the league so far. Palace, Ipswich, and we were blessed against Man United 2 weeks ago. Like, they should have been 3 or 4-0 up at half time, but by the time we change it, the positives, the manager does change it when it needs to be changed. He doesn't wait half time because the substitutions need to be. He will do it. He won't wait like Moyes did and wait for the 80th minute and then it's too late. So he does try it, but too many of the players that have come in haven't fitted is a bad word, but haven't hit the ground running. Like, for example, and we've been unlucky. Like, we spent 50 million on Fulkirk and a Brazilian 18-year-old Guilherme. Like, between the 50 million, 2 of them. When, if you look at recruitment the last couple of years, we've needed a striker to take over from Antonio. And we've all been crying out for it. We've had Haller, and we had the Italian fella, I can't remember his name, which are good big strikers, but they're not mobile like the way we need to play. So we need to. The manager needs to decide what we need and how we need to play, and then play the players and do it that way. Not try and fit people in. Like, it's a bit worrying because we have, I suppose, Antonio's out of contract at the end of the season. So is Soufal, Cresswell, and Danny Ings. So, we're going to have no striker. If Fulkirk, and he's still out. He's still injured. And yes, Scamacca. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, buddy. So, and Paqueta, his head's gone. He wanted to go to City. He would have been gone to City in the summer if these charges weren't hanging over his head. So
I agree with that.
But defensively, we're a lot better, even though we're conceding goals. Attack wise, we still have the players. Unfortunately, Coote's got 5-game ban with the Tottenham incident.
That was silly.
Yeah, very silly. Antonio is a 1 in 3 type player now. He's really good 1 game and then 2 games and he puts an effort, but he's just, he, like I said, he's out of contract.
He's getting on a bit, isn't he?
He's getting on a bit, and the way he plays and what he's been asked to do is very, very tough. But it's our midfield that's let us down. Like that. We've let Fornals go last January. We've let Ward-Prowse go. And we've replaced them with fellas that just can't move the ball. They've no agility. They're not fast enough. Rodriguez, come from Betis, good player, loves a good pass, but he plays in a small radius on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to get box to box. Alvarez is an absolute liability. There was talks of Man United bidding for him in the summer. I wish we'd taken it because once his first touch has just gone off him, he's just in with the studs up and his yellow card, red card every week, and it's just he's becoming a liability. So Souček gives everything he can, but we don't play to his strengths. He gives everything, but he's limited. So we have no legs, we have no speed, we've no guile. Paqueta's his head is gone, and it's just a shit show in the middle of the park for us. And if your midfield isn't good in the Premier League, you're just going to get destroyed. Especially now, especially with the like some of the new managers that have come in, especially with Brighton's new coach. They're going to run at you, and that's why I'm sure we'll talk about it in a while. He saved his job getting a draw against Everton before the international break. We've got Newcastle and Arsenal the next 2 games. Like, you'll ask me prediction there on, but it's going to be 3-0. Like, I'm fully convinced we're going to lose both of them games 3-0. Like, fully convinced.
No, we're not talking about that tonight. We're sticking to the topics.
But do you know what I mean? But that's where we're at because we have, like, we mentioned Moyes. At least if we're going to Newcastle with Moyes, we kind of go, and we've had the conversation. We've been we've been terrible against you guys. So you've seen it with your own eyes. But you're going to try and defend for it to go, and at least you might get a bit of a counter attack. And Bo might come up with some magic, or Antonio might get ahead, or you something like that might happen.
They beat us last season. It took an unbelievable turnaround, didn't it?
Yeah, there was fucking more dodgy decisions and stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
but lads kicking, like Phillips kicking Gordon, and Gordon, like, let's not even go to that. Was a crazy decision. But yeah, I suppose it's not one thing, it's a lot of things. We'll always talk about recruitment, how the club is run in the background, how it's just, it's kind of like throwing darts in the dark and hoping for the best. And, you know, we got Tim Stein in, director of football, seemed to know what he was doing, seemed to be planning. But, you know, when I look at most of, you know, if we bought 10 players, you know, 3 of them are only performing. And 2 of them have played in England. So, you know, it's not like Tim has come in and said, all right, these are the guys we need. Because we can all see, you know, Max Kimmin was a quality defender. We can all see Somerville was a brilliant for Leeds. You know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that. So it's the ones that have come in. Wan-Bissaka has been fantastic, even though sometimes he forgets to defend. But you have to play, like I said, you have to play at the player's strengths and try and maximize their ability and get the best out of them. And the manager isn't doing that at the moment. And I personally, we all try to give him a chance, but you know, when you're standing there, Liverpool in the cup game, you get beat 5-1 again. Here we go, same old story. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know what you guys think. You know, 3 wins this season, 6 wins. West Ham have won 6 games in the Premier League this calendar year.
Before we go into let's have a look at this, because this is very interesting. This is the home and away form of all the teams in the Premier League. So this could give us an answer of why potentially the teams near the bottom are doing so badly, because you're 14th in away home form. Now, when I see West Ham mid-table, you always see their home form as being very, very good. And I think that's the reason why you guys are struggling this year, is because of your home form. It's same with Palace. Look at Palace, 17th, only 5 points from 6 games at home. Now, Palace is normally a really hard ground to go into and win games. And that's why they're struggling. Man City are 3rd. You know, for them, that is terrible. Brentford are top. And I've always said Brentford's one of the hardest grounds to go to and get a win. And we've done it a couple of times, been very lucky. But, you know, Brentford top of that list is crazy to see. And then the away form, if your home form's terrible, you've got to hope you're picking up points away from home. And then you look at that again. Look at Brentford, 2nd bottom for away and top for home. So that's why they're staying in the league, because they're winning their home games. Palace, 17th with their away form, the same as the home form. You know, 7 points. That's terrible. And then your away form is better than your home form by 2 places.
Yeah,
but you've actually got 2 less points.
Yeah, but I suppose statistically wise, it makes complete sense. They're good stats. Yeah, like home game. That's the thing with us, and it's, I don't talk about stadium and all that, but you know, it's a bit of a chore, and it's not a hard place to go. It's not. Teams don't care. You know, teams don't mind coming there and playing against us now. You know what I mean? And, you know, I don't think they ever had. Even when we were going well, it's not that it was a hard place to come. It was just we were playing well. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't.
That's what I mean. You're normally very good at home. It's not the ground. Yeah. It's just that your home form is normally very good, and that's what. You know, that's what scares you a little bit. Now there is also some, for other Premier League teams we haven't discussed tonight, the away form of some of the teams is unbelievable. Look at Forest. 11 points away from home. Their home form, they're 13th.
Yeah,
and they were sitting third, and they were sitting 3rd in the Premier League at one point.
It's and like I said, yeah. When you're playing in a certain way, it suits a certain style and the ethos, and the players buy into it because it maximizes what they do. And they might not be the best players in the world or in the league, but because the manager is said, right, we're going to play to this. This is our system. This is what we're going to do. We're going to, like Forest, we're going to be counter-attack, and then we're absolutely electric going forward. And with Woods that can knock balls down and hold play up to bring the rest of the team up, and we can ping things from there. And like we played them a couple of weeks ago, and they were electric. So we couldn't I don't think we got out of our half. I think we had 1 shot in the first half or something like that, because you know and that's a brilliant, like that's the best ground in England in Prem when it comes to their team getting behind them if they're doing well.
Yeah.
Like it's absolutely electric. Like, you can't hear yourself. And when they start going, they start motoring, they get 1-0 up. That's it. You're done. You're done. That's it. They're flying. So fair play to them.
Apart from Newcastle.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that one in there. Look at Chelsea as well, though. Chelsea's home form, 3rd in the table. Look where they are for their home form, 11th. I know it's only 1 point, but they've had an extra game at home. And that just shows you that Chelsea are maybe better away from home because the attacking players have got the hit you on the break quickly. Same as Villa. Villa's away form, 5th in the league. Home form, 12th. Last season, Villa was one of the hardest places to go to and win a game.
Yeah.
You know, and then you've got some of the mid-table teams who are mid-table, like Man United, right in the middle there, 10th.
Wow.
It's some of the imbalance on this table really does paint a picture for me, and it's crazy. But then again, you see the teams that are struggling; they're right down at the bottom for both home and away, and that's why they're at the bottom. One of those has got to give at some point for you, Palace. You know, to basically to get out of that situation you're in. Look at Wolves as well; they've been struggling, which is. You know, their home form's normally pretty good, but it's been terrible recently. And there's another one I want to put up is this one. Now, this has only got the other 14 in it, so it's got, you know, just the other team. And this is when you've dropped points after being ahead. Now, this tells me 2 things. You've been ahead 4 times and you've dropped 3 points. That means when you're ahead, you've either drawn games or you've lost. You've drawn 3 and lost 1. Now, being ahead for 4 games is one of the hardest things to do in the Premier League, getting ahead. But then holding on to that lead, you've got to do it. Same for Palace. They've been ahead 3 times and they've dropped 5 points. So they've lost 1 and drawn 2. So it's not that you're not getting ahead in games, it's that you're not holding on to the result as well at times.
Yeah, and you have to look at it too, like a lot, we're not scoring, we're not free flowing, we're not scoring a lot of goals. So when you are getting ahead, you're kind of like, okay, we need to rely on the 1-0. That's why you might see, okay, we might have drawn a few games, which we have. So, you know, you're not trying to get that second goal to kill the game off and actually win it. We don't seem to be able to get a couple of goals in a game now. For whatever reason, are the players getting off the bit? Are we too slow? Because we're playing possession football, we're too slow. And we're building up from the back, and then Bowen's just standing there with his back to goal and the full back, you know, just behind him, marshalling him away. And that's what you don't want to be. You want him running, just like Gordon, similar type dynamic players. Yeah. You want them facing the goal with the ball, running at defenders when the defenders under pressure going backwards. So it's down to the coach at the end of the day. How am I going to set these? Am I getting the best out of the players? No, I'm not. You mentioned Palace. Similar, like when we played Frankfurt in the Europa semi-final, like I was at the game and like we hardly got a touch. There was moments in the game we hardly got a touch because they were passing it around. It looked like they had an extra player on the pitch. They were so good. And now you look at them at Palace, and they done great at the end of last season when it didn't matter, and now when it does matter, you know, they can't string 4 or 5 passes away. At the same time, they've lost Zaha 2 years ago. We forget about that. And then Alessi this year. So they're losing their best players. And, you know, that 3 dynamic was like we just talked about, speed, power, everything that you don't want to defend against. They had in them 3 players going. And now they've only got one of them. And he hasn't been able to step up. No, he's not that he's playing badly. It's just, you know, he
hasn't got the players around him to be able to.
Is all on his shoulders, and he's the marked man. Now other teams know, okay, we just have to stop him. That's it. There's not 3 of them going. You know, it's easier to stop 1 than the 3. So, from Palace's perspective, that's the situation they're in. Our perspective is we have the makings of a good squad, but you know we've no energy in the middle of the park. And, you know, we've wasted 50 million on 2 players and one of them's injured. Like I said, not his fault. Hopefully he comes good. Seems like a good character. But spending 20-something million on an 18-year-old Brazilian who's not going to play probably this season, one for the future, it was just absolutely ludicrous when we needed a dynamic striker that could get us up the pitch with Bowen and Coote. Like Bowen and Coote, like the 2 of them, they'd walk on most teams in the Prem, to be fair. Like, let's be honest.
I'd take Bowen in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so you know, the skeleton is there. It's just we don't have we don't have the guts And that's what it comes down to. And I'd be very worried for the manager in the next 2 games, because we're playing against 2 teams that have juice, that have speed, that have pace. And I think they're going to rip us apart. And it kills me to say it.
The other interesting thing about this table is, and I'm going to say it, Newcastle have not dropped a single point. We've got 15 points from 5 winning positions. But the other thing is, look at the bottom of the table and look at how many points Brentford have dropped. Brighton, look how many points you've dropped, 10. Brentford have dropped 14. Forest have dropped 11. Can you imagine? And this is going ahead in games as well. Mike, if you kept a hold of these leads, you'd be top of the league.
Apart from Liverpool, their stupid games, we were like 2-0 up against Wolves. We're beating Ipswich. You know, it's those.
Your microphone's definitely died, Mike.
Yeah, you've gone very, very crackly, mate.
Can you hear it?
No.
Keep going.
I'll come out and come back in again.
That's better. Stay where you are now.
That, it gets
Yeah.
better.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it's gone back.
Because I was about to know. I mean, Wolves and Ipswich, and I mean the Forest. Wolves who were 2-0
Mike, you'll have to go out and come back in, mate. It's gone all crackly. Sorry, pal. It's a nightmare when that happens. Sounds like a Dalek.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. It sounds like he's like.
I don't know. He always
submarine.
has signal problems. It's a good job he doesn't do his own channel, because you would never get anywhere.
Just be him sitting on the couch with the dog.
Yeah. He'd be commentating on what they're called, man, Doctor Who episodes and stuff like that. In Dalek. Let's see if this is any better. Fingers crossed. Come on, Mike. There we go.
Is that
A little
better?
bit better.
No,
That's better.
a little bit better. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was saying. So Wolves was the most frustrating one, because we were 2-0 up, and basically drew 2-2. So it's those mid-table teams or bottom-table teams that we've done really badly against. Apart from, there's the Liverpool game. Obviously, we're 1-0 up against that, lost 2-1. But those games have been really frustrating, and it's when we're at home that seems to be where we are. I know that on the table our home form looks quite good, but we would have been close to the top sort of 3 if we had won those games, So that's frustrating. But then Hursley's a young manager and he's learning all the time. So there is that side of it as well, first season in the Prem. But yeah, it's been good. So
would you say his rendition to be the next Chelsea manager is going well?
Very likely, yes. That's always a worry.
Sorry, mate.
It's like we had Belieber came on Saturday and was absolutely brilliant, turned the game, but that all these clubs are going to be like looking at him and circling over him, and it's our model, I'm not knocking it, but at some point we've got to try and hold on to some of the I just saw that Harry Kane.
Yeah, Harry Kane
it's that's terrible goalkeeping. Yeah,
he's our goalkeeper as well.
It come up his leg, he scored it.
Oh no, he's the one we signed from Forest on that dodgy deal with Anderson.
Yeah. So it's it's frustrating because we know that he'd go for a lot of money, obviously, because that's our model as well. But you worry that sometime it's going to catch up with you a bit. It did at points last season with De Zerbi. There was times when our midfield was a bit light and we got overrun, and De Zerbi kind of lost the plot with some of his selections. But So that's the downside about being Brighton, is that teams are going to circle around Belieber, Pedro, even O'Reilly when he gets up and running. That's going to happen. So it is what it is.
So, very quickly, TalkSport 8 minutes ago just put out an article breaking: David Coote tried to organise drugs party before officiating Man City game. That's TalkSport saying that. So if that is true, he is. There's no coming back from that now.
No,
Uh, so there we go. So apparently Bellingham scored, but Kane tried to nick it before it went over the line, and it looked like it was already over the line. So it's going to be given to Bellingham. Right, last topic, guys. Very. Oh, I don't know. Someone just that's what they've commentated on. Last topic of the night. Very quick one because we're over an hour. I don't want to keep this too much longer. But obviously, match of the day. Gary Lineker is retiring. Someone's had their say on it, saying it's got to be given to Mark Chapman. There's nobody else who should be getting the job. Obviously, he does the Sunday night show, doesn't he? Sometimes, and also does the championship show. I think. Obviously, Alex Scott is in there now. I think she knows her stuff. I think she's one of the top female presenters or pundits. There's not many other women who I'd give the job to because I just don't think they know their stuff. And I think when you bring the match of the day, especially on a Saturday night, you have got to be able to stand your ground and know your stuff. There's not many other candidates, really. I mean, Gabby Logan was another one mentioned. Again, she knows her stuff. She's been around football for years. Who would you like to see, Mike, first of all, before we come to you, Steve? So while we've got Mike's mic going well.
We're on a roll.
I mean, I tweeted the other day, Mark Chapman will be my first choice because I think he's a natural for it. I think Gabby Logan would be good. I think there's a very misogynistic outlook about Alex Scott. I think she isn't as bad as people paint her, but hey ho.
I've watched her in that TV series she started doing, the game show thing. I'm not impressed with her doing game shows. She doesn't suit it.
No. And I mean, there is a danger that if people don't like her, then
they'll turn off.
So there is that. I think Mark Chapman would be the safe choice, or Jason Mohammed, someone like that, who does the final score. Someone said Jeff Stelling. That wouldn't be a bad choice either.
That would be perfect.
Amazing. Yeah, for me, Mark Chapman would be the one. Natural success. But the BBC has gone through so much crap that they go woke way, don't they? They won't go for maybe the best person. They go for someone to tick boxes. I think. Very likely.
Exercise. I mean, even Gary Lineker apparently was willing to take a pay cut to keep his job, but they turned it down, which I think is crazy. Depends how much of a pay cut it was, or he's probably thinking 100 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
He's on 1.5 million, isn't he, or something like that. He's been there for a long time though, so fair play to him. Stevie, who would you like to see match of the day presenter?
Chapman has to get really because he served his time doing match of the day too. He's good. He gets to the point. He speaks to the pundits like he's interested in what they're saying. Lineker can be a bit condescending, even though, to be fair, I like him on match of the day because he just flows. It's important to know. It's important to think. There's nothing against Alex Scott. I think she's a better pundit than a presenter. Jesus. So
Curtis Jones apparently.
Good player, man. Good player. Good player, but I think Alex Scott is a better pundit than a presenter. I think she's been thrown in, and
that's
it's not fair on her.
Yeah.
And that's
point.
The mistake that a lot of people have made. I know she's done Football Focus, and it was a bit of a car crash. But I've seen she's done a couple of match of day twos when people are out and stuff, and it's just a little bit scripted, and it doesn't feel like she's asking. It feels like she's been told what to say, if that makes sense. But
do you think? Because I've heard people say she's a little bit wooden.
Yeah.
In that.
Well, that's what I mean about doing the game show thing she's doing. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like where they do a one-on-one thing and like game on, and it's just like for me it feels like it's forced and it's wooden.
Thankfully, it's not Jermaine Genius because that would be like.
Damn it. We want Jermaine Genius. We want that. But I'm gonna give you a name now, and it would shake us to our very core if this one got it.
Joey Barton.
Helen Chamberlain would be my number one.
That would be amazing.
If by some miracle that they could get her to do it, it would be I think it would breathe a whole new life
that would
into
be
it.
amazing.
Everyone would watch it. They might. It would be lighthearted. She has the banter. She knows her stuff. She knows her football. You wouldn't have to give her a script. She just go out there and do it. And you know, but probably would probably be impossible for it to happen. But that would be my number one. David Coote, would he get a chance at it? You know, him, Alex Scott, and Genus, give the three of them a go and see how he got on. It'd be fun. And then stick him in the jungle after.
Oh man!
They should do match today.
It wouldn't be salty. It wouldn't be
do match today from the jungle.
It wouldn't be
brilliant.
salty. It'd be smuggling in his socks, would it? That's white. So,
Oh my days!
Helen Chamberlain's a great shout. You know, like
it is actually. It is. Soccer M was amazing.
Yeah.
And considering how sexist Soccer AM was sort of back in the day, you know, with the Soccerettes and the way that they did that sort of thing. She was just brilliant with, you know, the whole thing. She proper loved the banter, and then the way she ripped into James Wade was I don't know if you saw that. That was brilliant. What was it? She said something like he wasn't that fat when he was shagging me.
Oh my god.
Absolutely brilliant. But there you go. Oh man. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I don't watch Match of the Day very often these days.
No, I record it and then Sunday morning I just forward through all the chat and then watch the goals.
Yeah, exactly.
The analysis is just crap.
Sometimes I just go on YouTube and watch the highlights of the clubs. It's easier that way and faster. I know, it's terrible. But when I'm at work and I'm at my computer, it's easy just to, you know, I haven't seen the goals from today. Let's bang in that game and watch those goals and then take it from there. So, that brilliant show, guys. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed it. There is a membership option if you want to. Thumbs up on the way out. Don't forget about our sponsors, Dico. We've got some amazing new T-shirts out. Link is in the description. Bars 20 for 20% off. Football prizes, like I said, this is amazing. There is another Newcastle prize running alongside this one, which ends next week, but this one ends on Friday, so I'm concentrating on this one. Eddie Howe signed shirt, and then you also could win a Joe Linton, a Botman, or a Gaza one as well, which is amazing. Haven't mentioned this all night, but I'm going to throw it in there now. We are doing a live show on in January, 16th of Jan, £10 per person. All the money going to Stanley Deaf Club and the NUFC Food Bank. We've only got 29 tickets left. Superfan Dan is the person to email to get your name on the guest list. And of course, like I mentioned, for the NUFC Food Bank on Saturday, we're involved in a 6-a-side match. This is basically Wolves' last dance. We won't be doing this again. So please come and support by watching through our channel and donating to the food bank and referencing Wolves so we know how much, because it's 20 grand he's hit, which is crazy for a 9-year-old and his dad. Amazing work, really, especially at this day and age when, you know, we really, really need sponsorship and all this sort of stuff. So it's amazing work. Charity donations are very hard to get these days. And that's obviously, it's Friday, isn't it? Children in need. It's just, there's always something in there. There's always something.
Sizzle in need. That's what we should
Brilliant. Oh, man. Well, thank you, Mike.
Can I just say how cool Steve's look through this.
Mike's microphone in need.
This whole tunnel. Steve's look really cool through this whole tunnel. That light, dark Gotham City look is just amazing.
I was doing that for you, buddy. I was doing that for you.
He says you put the light on and the light on was too bright. He didn't want to scare the kids, and I said we're better off in the dark anyway. So.
I've got nothing on under this.
Brilliant. Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you in around about a month's time. Take care till then.
Shake and bake.